You know that feeling when you're scrolling through Zillow, or maybe you just got a job offer and you're looking at a map of a new city, let's say Greenville. All you see are names: Greenville, Simpsonville, Travelers Rest. It's just geography, a bunch of dots and lines, but a place isn't just coordinates. It's the smell of coffee from that little shop on a Tuesday morning. It's the shortcut you take through the park to avoid traffic. It's knowing which grocery store has the best produce and which hospital has amazing nurses and where you go to celebrate a big win. These are all things to consider. But my question to you is this: staring at a map of Greenville, South Carolina, full of questions. Is this just a cute downtown, or is it a real place to live? Where do people actually go? If I move here, what's my daily life going to look like? These are just some things that come to mind when you're looking at a map. So today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're not just gonna do a drone flyover. We're going on a live, breathing Google Map tour of Greenville. We're going to layer this map with the stuff that makes a life. The parks, where you walk your dog, the schools your kids might go to, the hidden grocery store gems, the best highway access to beat the traffic, and where you'll catch a good hockey game or a concert. And I'm gonna pepper in some of my own stories along the way: the good, the bad, the why didn't anyone tell me this stuff type of deal. Think of this as your insider's guide to the heartbeat of Greenville. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything about living in Greenville, South Carolina and the surrounding suburbs, then subscribe below so you can be the first to know about the current market in Greenville, South Carolina. My name is Brian O'Neill, the tattooed agent with eXp Realty, and I've lived in the Greenville area for 26 years while selling real estate for 11 out of those 26 years. I love helping people make their move to the Greenville, South Carolina area, and whether that's 9 days or 90 days, feel free to reach out. Now, let's get into the map tour.
All right, guys, here we are starting out with the Google Map search. And the first things that we're going to be talking about now are really the parks. And as you can see on the outline here, this is actually the city of Greenville limits. Okay, so we still have some Greenville addresses outside the city. Sorry about that. But right now, since we're doing a search just on Greenville, South Carolina, it's going to pull up just the city limits, but we are going to come out of the city limits and kind of show you some of the surrounding areas too and what's going on with that. But like I said, the first part of this map tour is really going to be about the parks in the city. And I'm going to have to zoom in here to pull up Falls Park. Let's see here. So we've got Unity Park right here, which is right in the heart of downtown Greenville. And this is one of our newest parks right here. And you can see here, as we zoom in a little bit more, okay, this is where Unity Park is. They just built the new Unity Tower on this side of the park, but you do have splash pads and other things for the kids to do and stuff like that during the summer. Hopefully, I haven't been down there since it was built, but hopefully they're putting some shaded areas over there, because during the summer, if you are out there with your family, there's not a whole lot of shade. So just kind of keep that in mind. But this is a huge green space right here. And then also you have the Commons right next to it, which has, a couple restaurants, barbecue, there's a couple breweries and stuff like that. So overall, this area where Unity Park is, it's great for families. Like I said, dogs, just walking around, because this is like a little walking trail around the park. But as you can see, as we zoom out just a little bit more, its relative location to Main Street in downtown Greenville is pretty close. Okay. Because you could, if you're over here on Washington Street, you can literally take Washington Street from Main all the way to Hudson, and then go down Hudson, and you're right there at Unity Park. So just something to keep in mind when you're out there kind of doing this, little drive of downtown Greenville. But then also, let me delete that. Let me take that out of there. So as you go further south on Main, this is where Falls Park is. This is where the Liberty Bridge is. Okay. And then you got the Grand Bohemian right there. But this is the Liberty Bridge right here. Okay. And then you got Between the Trees restaurant here and the Bohemian right there. And so this is another great area to take the kids and family, or if you just want to relax, because there are green spaces out here right by the Falls Park. I wouldn't get in the water, just an FYI. Not the cleanest water, just to be very upfront with you. But again, Main Street area here, okay? And then this is your Liberty Bridge going across. And this, you got a Great Falls view of the water and everything right here. So again, that's another staple park of the downtown area. But again, as we zoom out, here's Main Street right here. Obviously, coming in off of 385 right here, you go straight into downtown. This is Main Street, and then it branches off from here. Okay. But those are the two parks that are downtown. Unity Park here, Falls Park here. More greenery and space to roam and walk here at Unity Park. Obviously, if you're just walking up Main Street, checking out the shops, and you want to check out Falls Park, it's a great area to check out. It really is. Okay. There is another small little park up here at West Park Avenue. This is McPherson Park right here. Okay. So these are all, I mean, if you're living off of Main Street here or Stone Avenue, honestly, you could probably take a golf cart to this park here. Anywhere else, if you're not relatively close to Falls Park or Unity Park, it is going to be a drive. But it also depends what time of day you guys go down to check these out. Again, McPherson Park is a small park right up here. Okay. This is Bond Squirrel Wellness Arena. So you're coming in off 385 right here. It turns into East North Street. If you take a ride on Academy here, McPherson Park is right down here. It's got a small little putt-putt golf course, a park with some equipment that kids can play on, jump on, slide down slides and stuff like that. And then as we zoom out here, okay, now we're going to head down to Cleveland Park. And Cleveland Park is right here. This is where the zoo is at. But Cleveland Park is great because it does have tennis courts down there. It does have a large playground area for the kids. It also has some covered patio areas where you could, have this is your parking lot here. This is almost a covered patio space right here. Okay. And this is where you can reserve it. They've also got a couple of them. There's one here, and then they've got a large playground area here and here. And then your courts are over here, your tennis courts. They've got a small little baseball field right here. And then there's part of the Swamp Rabbit Trail. So let me zoom out just a little bit more. But this Cleveland Park area this whole area down here is nice because you can go on a walking trail and walk the entire park and circle back around to the zoo if you wanted to. So, and you can also jump on the Swamp Rabbit Trail. And as you can see, we'll try and map that out. But as you can see, the Swamp Rabbit Trail here, it flows through. It's kind of hard because they don't highlight it all together, but that's kind of where it starts. All right, let's zoom out just a little bit more because we are still inside the city limits. So there is another park over by the downtown Greenville Airport, and this is called the Runway Park. And this is a great area for families and kids. It really is because it's all fenced in. The perimeter of the playground is fenced in. Okay. There's also a putt-putt course right by, and you get to see airplanes take off. And so it's great. It's a great distraction for the kids. I mean, every time they're playing and a plane takes off, they always look around, and it's just a great atmosphere overall. But as you can see here, all right, so we're a little bit more zoomed out. So let me pull up this little drawing here. Okay. So here's 385. This is your main highway coming in off your interstate coming in off of 85. All right. As we zoom out just a little bit more, let me take that away and we'll get back to drawing. But let me pull that up. All right. So if you're coming in off of 85 here, okay, this is 85 to 385, and you're taking 385 basically into downtown Greenville. As you can see, my drawing is fantastic. All right. So basically from that corridor of Pelham Road right here into downtown Greenville, if there isn't a lot of traffic backed up, it won't take you any time to get in there. Okay. Now, if we're coming in off of 385 and you want to get to the Runway Cafe, you're taking 385 there's a couple ways that you can take it. You can get off here at Haywood Road, okay? And then this Haywood Road, you can circle back around here to this road. And then there's a couple back roads that will take you into the park, or you can just take it up to Pleasantburg, get off on Pleasantburg, and then there's a short little drive. I believe it's right. Let's see, right here. Yep. Take it right here, and then I'll take you right into the park. So from the 385-85 intersection, it should only take you maybe 7 to 8 minutes. Now, if you're coming in and wanting to go into downtown Greenville, it just depends on what kind of traffic is set up right here once you get into downtown, because this is a busy intersection here. But overall, if the traffic isn't bad, it should only take you 10 to 15 minutes to get either to Unity Park or Falls Park. The biggest issue with Falls Park is finding parking. Okay. Unity Park has plenty of parking by the commons. So let's go. We'll show you that. Oh, take that away. So let's focus in just a little bit more. Yeah, so all this space here is parking. Okay. That's the tough part about Falls Park because it is so downtown. Here's your Falls Park here. Okay. A lot of your parking is going to be up here, or if you can find a spot on Main Street. McPherson Park is the same way. There's not a whole lot of parking there. Okay. Because this is North Academy. There's not going to be any parking here. All right. And then you got East Park right here. So a lot of your parking is going to be down here or in here. And there's not a whole lot of parking because there are houses right here. And so that's where, those people live. It's a private drive. So you're going to have to park on a side street and then walk across. Okay. Let's go back out we'll go back out to the Runway Park. Let's see, where's it at? South Pleasantburg. Oh, there it is. So there's Runway Cafe. Or I'm sorry, the Runway Park here. So yeah, once you pull into here, there's several parking spots on this side right here, and then there's also parking spots in here. So again, those parks right there are going to be your main big parks. Or not, parks in the downtown Greenville area. There's obviously many more outside, but those are the highlights of the main ones here in the downtown area. All right, now that we touched on the parks in the downtown Greenville area, we're going to talk about some of the schools, okay? This is going to be brief because it is based on where you live, and there's a lot of research online to make the best choice for your kids as far as schools go. So we're just going to touch on a few areas and a few schools that are located within the city, but I'd highly recommend going to the Greenville County Schools website because they do grade their schools on the website, and so you'll be able to find a lot of information there. But all that being said, over in the Augusta Road area, this is Augusta Street that runs all the way into downtown Greenville. You have Augusta Circle Elementary. West Greenville, this is the west side of Greenville. All right. Cherrydale up here. This is going to be a little bit outside the city, but it's going to be right on the border. Let's see, not Strayer. That's the headquarters for Greenville County Schools. Sterling School right here. The Cyber Academy of South Carolina over there at the intersection of Pleasantburg and 385. Bob Jones University right in the heart of Greenville here, right here on Wade Hampton Boulevard. Wade Hampton Boulevard runs all the way into downtown Greenville and goes all the way into Spartanburg. Furman's just a little bit further outside the city. Let's see if it shows up here on the map. But Furman is going to be up in this area right here, close to Travelers Rest. This is where Furman University is. And then, let's see, Greenville Technical College is going to be over in this area right here. But that's just a few of the schools. Again, it is based on, we don't do districts in Greenville County. Spartanburg County has, I believe, 8 districts. This is all based on where you live. Now, you can get permission as long as you can provide transportation to send your kids to a different school, okay? Where we live in Simpsonville, we send our kids to Southside Christian just because it's only 10 minutes from where we live there. Um, and so great program, great school, but again, something to do your own research on as far as schools are concerned. All right, now that we talked about the school systems, just for a brief moment, we're going to talk about the major hospital systems. And obviously, if you look at the map here, you've got some other outlying smaller healthcare systems or healthcare routes off the Prisma healthcare system. But we do have two big campuses that are within the city of Greenville. Okay. The first one is over here on the east side of town. And this is 85 right here. And this is your 385 junction here. All right. Once you get off of 385, there's several ways to get to this. You can get off on Roper Mountain, take the back way in, or you can get off on Haywood and come back that way. But as we zoom in, you have Bon Secours East Side right here, a large medical campus. And then you also have Prisma Healthcare right across the street. So these are two of your options if you are on the east side of town. And again, if you are coming from anywhere up in this area, which could be in either Greenville or Greer address, it is not going to take you very long. Maybe 10 minutes from this area. Just depends on traffic on Hudson Road. Hudson Road's a fairly busy road. Pelham Road is a main vein that runs all the way from 85 into Greenville itself. Okay. And there's ways you can get to it from 385. So again, you can get off on Roper Mountain and then go down Roper Mountain Extension. And then there's a little cut through right here where you can get into Bon Secours East Side. And again, you could always go up to Haywood Road here. Sorry about that with the restaurants popping up. Get on Pelham Road and come back this way on Paywood. Okay. So that's the hospital, the big hospital campus on the east side of town. Okay. Now, if you're more on this side of town or even on the southern side of Greenville, over here, Greenville Memorial Hospital System and Shriners Hospital are probably going to be your best bet. Okay. And there's several ways you can get to it, obviously. This is 85 right here. Okay, just for reference. All right. And then this is Lawrence Road, which is a main vein that can go into Malden and it will go all the way into Greenville. Okay. You also have Augusta Street. This is another very busy road. And so there's several routes to get there. Again, you can take Augusta Street all the way to West Ferris. However, there is traffic lights here. It's not going to take you very long. It just depends on what time of day. All right. And then you take West Ferris all the way to the backside. Shriners Hospital and GMH are all right there. All right. The other way that you can take is going up to White Horse Road here. Okay. And then taking this frontage road all the way in. And there's several other medical facilities right here that are branches of the Prisma Health System. So as we zoom in just a little bit more, you can see how big this campus is. All right. It is a large campus and there's several ways to get to it. Like I said, you have Grove Road that can take you into it. You also have Mills Avenue, which it turns into Mills Avenue after you cross Augusta Street here. It's actually Church Street once you're coming in from downtown Greenville. So if you're coming from this side of town, you can take Church Street all the way down here to Mills Avenue. Not a whole lot of traffic lights on Church Street once you get on it, but they are doing construction right now. Let's see. Let me see where I'm at. Yes. So basically, this whole bridge here, it's not a bridge, but it does go over this section of the city. They are doing construction here. So it might be a little congested, all right now. But that is one way that you can take it into the campus. And like I said, it really depends on where you're coming from. Because if you are coming from Easley, you can take 123 right here, okay? And that can take you into the downtown campus. You also have Bon Secours, St. Francis downtown, which is a branch of Bon Secours East Side. Again, another hospital system that gives you choices in the downtown area. And you see both campuses are fairly close to each other. And, once you get a feel for the roads here, okay, you can find ways to avoid traffic because these areas will get congested at certain parts of the day, just rush hour and stuff like that. But if you're going in the middle afternoon, it's really not going to be an issue. It's the morning commutes the afternoon commutes, anytime in between once everybody's gotten to work, this is a fairly easy drive depending on where you're coming from. Now, again, stuff could happen, accidents happen, but these are the big medical campuses that are in the city limits of Greenville. And then obviously many specialty areas for not only Bon Secours, but Prisma that are located outside these campuses in and around town. But those are your three major healthcare providers in the city of Greenville. All right, now let's talk about everybody's favorite thing here in the upstate, and that is traffic. So let's talk about our location. Here is downtown Greenville right here. Okay. Right here is Greenville Spartanburg International Airport. Okay. So your main, this is going to be Highway 85 right here. This is your 385 interchange. Depending on where you live and the time of day that you're getting to the airport, it can take some time because let me get out my drawing grid here. All right. So let's just zoom in and then we'll kind of go from here. All right. Beautiful. All right. We'll get our drawing grid back and then I'll tell you what, let me move my ugly mug down here. And then, all right. All right. So downtown Greenville, right here. All right. And then obviously the city limits are a little bit broken up, but you get the gist of it. This is the downtown Greenville area. This right here is GSP, Greenville Spartanburg International Airport. Several ways you can get to it. This is obviously I-85, okay? And then this is Highway 14 here. And then you've got your GSP exits off of 85 right here. Now, if you are coming from the downtown area to get to the airport, there are several ways that you can get there if 85 is backed up. But again, let's just go the easy route. Let's just take 385 all the way to the airport. So obviously we're following 385 here. And then we get onto 85. And the easiest way, to be honest, is to get off here on 14 and then take a right or a left right here. And then there's a small little road that leads right into the downtown area. Now, obviously, you could keep going and get off here and go to the airport that way. It's whatever way you think is best, because coming in this back way, if you plan on doing any parking, either way, it's going to intersect at where you're able to park. They've got long-term parking here, short-term covered parking both right here, and then extended parking right here. They are building more parking because Greenville's growing like crazy. But all in all, if you have to get to the airport for an early flight at, let's just say 6 in the morning, the likelihood of you hitting any traffic is slim, just because if you do hit traffic, it's going to be from an accident. It really is, because a lot of people, I commuted a lot when I was at the fire department. And when I lived in the Duncan area, I would commute this every morning, and I could leave at 25 till I had to be at the station at 7 a.m. And I could leave my house in Duncan at about 6:35, and I took 85 the whole way. And I could be at the station in downtown when I was working downtown right at around 7 o'clock. Now, obviously, if there's an accident, that will definitely delay things. But if you are coming from the downtown area, that is going to be your easiest route right here to get to the airport. Okay. Now, this is I-85. The biggest congestion area, in all honesty, is from, I'll just say it, 14. Okay. This is Highway 14. The biggest congestion starts just before 14. And it's usually at peak times in the morning on the morning commute or peak times going home. They just haven't done a good job with Pelham Road right here. There is one off ramp. Okay. And so they've done a great job with getting on 85 from Pelham Road, but this little circle right here to merge to go south, if you're coming this way, that congests a lot of stuff. It just does, because that's a tough get on area for anybody trying to merge on 85. So that the congestion starts at 14 and then all the way into the 385 interchange, it starts to open up. I know my drawing's terrible, don't judge me, because they've done a great job with the new 385 85 interchange. So as soon as you get past that Pelham Road area and you get up here, that's when it opens up. And typically traffic is good. Now, the other issue is Lawrence Road. Lawrence Road is right here. So again, once you get past this congestion and you get through the 385 interchange, it does depend on what has happened up here, because this is another exit that is, they haven't updated the infrastructure for this exit. It's kind of similar to Pelham Road. And so we do, in my time working at Station 1 on here for a day, we covered this whole 85 stretch right here. Ton of accidents right here. It just is. It's bound to happen. There's a good merging from Woodruff Road to get onto 85, but this intersection here, and then also, I just lost all my drawings. Sorry about that. But again, 14, congestion, it'll start to open up here. Once you get past Woodruff Road, this could be from this gap all the way to Pleasantburg. Here's another tough intersection here. And then Augusta, this isn't that bad. But you will see congestion, I promise you, between Pelham Road, 385, 85 interchange, between Woodruff Road and Lawrence Road, and then Lawrence Road and Pleasantburg. It's bound to happen. Those are your tough spots. Okay. Now, obviously, you have 385 that goes south to Malden and Simpsonville. And then Woodruff Road, this intersection here where Shops at Green Ridge is. This is this whole area here. This is the main shopping area, Shops at Green Ridge, Lowe's, Home Depot, everything, all in this intersection here. So this whole area here, all the retail and everything like that here, causes a big congestion area here for Woodruff Road. Okay, just an FYI. But again, let's see, let's take this away. Let's zoom in just a little bit, because let's show you some other very popular, not popular streets, but streets that are main veins within the city. Obviously, you have Haywood Road here, which stretches all the way from 385 to Lawrence Road here. Lawrence Road used to be called the Motor Mile because we did have a ton of dealerships there. We still do, but it's kind of lost that. My drawing is terrible. Can't even stay in the line. Again, this is Woodruff Road right here. So it does loop around here, goes all the way Shops at Green Ridge, all the way to Lawrence Road also. This is where your Haywood Mall is. Ton of restaurants, and the same thing with Lawrence Road here. Restaurants, retail, everything that you can need. Pleasantburg is another main vein off of 385. That's South Pleasantburg, and then North Pleasantburg runs up this way. Let's see here. I got to get my drawing squared away. Sorry about that, folks. All right. Again, Wade Hampton Boulevard here, Pleasantburg, Haywood Road. Whoop, delete that one. Haywood Road, Pleasantburg Drive, and it connects all the way at 85. So between 85 and 385. Woodruff Road. This area here isn't so congested because there's not a whole lot of retail here. It's once you get past this intersection here and you head all the way across to, this is Garlington Road. Now, obviously 385 going into downtown Greenville, Wade Hampton Boulevard, coming into the downtown area. Here's Church Street. Again, switches over to Mills Avenue once you cross that intersection of Augusta Road. Again, this is where your hospital system is and everything like that down here. And then Mills Avenue will take you back out. It turns into 129, and that can take you back out to 85. So if you do live on this side of town, your access to 85 is very short and it's not very congested. But again, these are really the main arteries of the downtown transit. It really is. So it just really depends on where your work is, as far as if you're in downtown Greenville or if you're just outside of Greenville. But getting into town, obviously 85 right here being the main vein. So you do have branches, but this highlights the main areas in and around Greenville. And then obviously, once you get into downtown Greenville, this is Academy Street that goes around the city. And then you've also got, I believe this is 276 going into Travelers Rest. Again, don't judge me for my drawings here. But yeah, these are the main veins. But again, it really does depend on traffic, because those clusters where it starts backing up again, this affects everything. So this whole stretch here, all the way, sorry, that whole stretch here, this is the main congestion. So this whole area will affect your traffic everywhere else. So that's a 1,000-foot view of the main veins here in Greenville, and now we'll jump into something else. All right, now let's talk about the food scene. The food scene is ridiculous in Greenville. It's honestly overwhelming. But we're zoomed in here on Main Street, okay, because Main Street is where all the restaurants run off of. And then we'll kind of zoom out, kind of look at some other restaurants in and around Greenville. But again, there's so many that you really could do an hour-long video just on the food scene in Greenville. So we're just going to touch on some of the restaurants downtown. We'll zoom out a little bit more, and then you can kind of see how spread out these places are. But again, here we are on Main Street right here, and we're going to have a lot of pop-ups. I'm sorry about that, but let me see if I can pop. There we go. So obviously Main Street here. Okay. Ton of restaurants off of Main Street. There are so many that really it's hard to honestly get them all in here. So you have a variety, steakhouse, seafood, sushi, just plain American food. I mean, it's overwhelming, and that's a good thing to have because it gives you plenty of choices. Again, we've got restaurants down here on Reedy Falls that have a great view. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse right there downtown. Nosedive is great. A lot of good restaurants here off of Main Street. And if you want barbecue, Lewis Barbecue, great barbecue, great outdoor area to sit at, top-notch brisket. So if you are into barbecue and you live in the downtown area, that's the place that I would go. Now, obviously, once we branch off and kind of zoom out, it's not going to have every restaurant, but some of the more popular restaurants are highlighted here. And again, it's not just downtown off of Main Street where you can find good food. There are good food places off of Haywood Road, okay? And so it's really getting a feel for the area. Now, this is just Greenville. We live in Simpsonville, which is just south of Greenville. There are a ton of restaurants in Simpsonville, so it's kind of overwhelming to just get into specific places. Again, there are plenty of choices once you get down here, and this isn't even highlighting all of them. This is just highlighting the ones that are, have that Google presence and everything like that. So again, Great choice of food right here on Main Street. And then obviously, if you don't want to venture into Main Street, you do have restaurants that are right here on Lawrence Road. Okay, there's a few restaurants down here. Again, Haywood Road has plenty of choices for restaurants. Let's see if we can zoom in here and see if any of them will pop up. All right, you got Saskatoon's right here. Kitchen Sink here on Lawrence Road. Um, who doesn't want Chili's? I mean, there's a Chili's right here. But in all serious, there are some other Papas and Beers, great Mexican restaurant here, the Melting Pot. You've also got a little Thai right there. And then City Range up here. Then you're running into the Haywood Mall. Obviously, there's a Cheesecake Factory at the Haywood Mall, so you got plenty of choices. There's also a food court in the Haywood Mall. Again, you don't necessarily have to go into downtown. Now, if you want a nice dinner and you want a good restaurant, there are so many choices downtown. It's honestly, it's overwhelming. But again, once you get out of there, there's some other local queues, a great sports bar, top-notch wings, great place to watch football, baseball, any type of sporting event that you like to watch. Stacks Omega, great breakfast. And then once you get a little bit further out, this is where you get into Woodruff Road. And Woodruff Road has a lot to choose from. That's why it is as popular as it is, because Firebirds is here. You also have, what's the name of that burger place right here? Bad Daddy's. Burgers or Dave and Buster's, Yard House. These are just some of the choices. Your Cracker Barrel here. There's several other restaurants here in shops at Green Ridge. It does get quite overwhelming. Twin Peaks is over here. Let's see, what else do we have here? There's Twin Peaks. I'm sorry about that. Let's see, Tropical Grill here. So again, I mean, it really is overwhelming how many food choices you do have here. But again, let's zoom out, okay? Because again, if you don't want to deal with, I say the hustle and bustle lightly of downtown Greenville, okay? It really just depends. Obviously, Fridays and Saturday nights, they're going to be busy, and it's going to be hard to get a reservation on Fridays and Saturday nights last minute. You can almost guarantee that it's not going to happen. So if you are wanting to make a reservation at one of the nicer, higher end restaurants in downtown Greenville for a Friday or even a Saturday night, you might want to plan on those reservations on a Tuesday right before the weekend hits. Now, again, if you miss out on some of these downtown, there are plenty of choices in and around. And again, you could always go into Travelers Rest, okay, which is right up here and just north of Greenville. If you live on this side of town and you want to go up to TR, there's some good restaurants there in Travelers Rest. Five Forks, this is where we currently reside, and we'll go into downtown Simpsonville most of the time. So we have smaller kids. Now, obviously, if we have date night, we're going to take advantage of not having kids and going into downtown Greenville so we can eat what we want to eat. And parents, you know what I'm talking about. So again, it's one of those things where once you come in and visit the city, definitely walk up and down Main Street just to see the amount of restaurants that are available. I think it's something astronomical, like 250 restaurants just in the downtown area. It's kind of crazy. But again, that just gives you an idea of what you're looking at as far as restaurant choices and everything in the downtown area. All right, now that we touched base about the restaurants in the Greenville area, let's talk about some of the groceries, supermarket, shopping, and stuff like that. I know we have touched on it a little bit during this map tour, but we're going to start in the heart of downtown Greenville and kind of go out with it. Okay. So, obviously, right here in downtown Greenville, what's great about what they've done with the downtown area is you have a Publix supermarket shopping center right here in the heart of downtown. So as we zoom in some more, you can see its relative location to the downtown Main Street area. Again, this is walking distance. If you have a condo or an apartment or anything in this downtown area, this shopping center where Publix is at is walking distance. Okay. Again, this really isn't your only choice, okay, here in downtown. Now, Harris Teeter is brand new right off of Stone Avenue. So the distance between this Publix shopping center and this Harris Teeter here, if we're going just, let's see, if we come out here, get on North Church Street, you're going to run into it on the back end here, and you can just park right here because that's where it's at. That will literally take you about 5 to 7 minutes max. Okay, because it just depends on what's going on North Street. But again, there's not a whole lot of congestion on this side of Church Street. All right. Now, obviously, let's zoom out just a little bit more. Let me take this away because we have over here on Augusta Street, right here, you have another Harris Teeter here. Okay. So a lot of people that are off the Augusta Road area have they have a midway point. Okay. Because obviously you can see this Publix at McAllister Square is relatively close to everything here if they don't want to go to Harris Teeter. And then again, if you're on this side of town too, or even in here, you can go to this Publix or go through the neighborhood and go to this Publix here. Again, this is off of Pleasantburg Drive here. I'm sorry, I'm trying to prevent those from popping up. But again, so you have a Fresh Market and a Publix all within, don't walk to them, but a minute drive of each other. So you have good choices here on this side of town. And again, a lot of people that live downtown, Publix is their go-to. Okay. Now, if we zoom out a little bit more, this Harris Teeter is fairly new. I think it's only maybe 2 or 3 years old. They definitely needed something on this side of town with East Stone and North Main. Now, the good thing about North Main here is you can obviously go to Ingles Market here. They call this area here Cherrydale. It is a Greenville address, but it is outside. Well, some of the parts just got put within the city limits. But again, you have choices whether you're in this North Main area or not, because you also have a ton of retail and grocery here on Wade Hampton Boulevard. Okay. And so you're not just limited to this Publix downtown or this Publix on McAllister Square. You have several choices. They're just not highlighting for some reason right here on Wade Hampton Boulevard. Again, this is off of Pleasantburg Drive here. You got a Sprouts here up at Pelham and East North Street. So anything on this side of town, you have Harris Teeter, you have Sprouts, and then also, which it's not showing on here, let's see, there's Sprouts, there's Pelham Road. Right here is a Publix. There's a Publix grocery store here, and for some reason, it's not showing up on the map. So, and then the further you go down Publix here well, this is Haywood Road. Once you get past Hudson, you're a little bit outside the city, but once you get closer to 385, there's a Lowe's grocery store here. So there is plenty of choices to go from. It just depends on where you're at. Now, obviously, you have the Haywood Mall over here. Trader Joe's is out here at Woodruff Road and 85. And the good thing, I hate to say it, but the only Costco besides Easley is right here. And this is starting from Verde Boulevard back across 85. This is where Woodruff Road does get congested. All right. So you have Costco on this side, Trader Joe's down here. And then once you go across, you've got Whole Foods right here. And then once you cross over this side, there's Sam's Club. So if you're looking for the big box stores, big box grocery stores, your Sam's Club is going to be at the intersection of basically Woodruff Road and 85 or 385. The same thing with Costco. This is going to be Roper Mountain here. You're getting off of 385, and you're going to take a left here, and that's where your Costco is. All right. Now you have Target here. You've also got Walmart on this side, but you've also got a Walmart up here on Pelham Road. Let me zoom out just a hair more. Let's see here. Garlington Pelham. All right, this is Pelham Road right here. All right. So you do have another smaller Walmart. It's not a super center, but there is a smaller Walmart here. And then there's your super center right there. All right. So again, it really does depend on where you're living, but your access as far as in the city or even on the outskirts of the city limits to grocery and retail is fairly good. It just depends on if you want to deal with the congestion and the traffic of Costco here. Now, I will say this. We were members at Costco, love Costco, hate the parking. The parking and trying to get out of this Costco is an absolute nightmare. I'm just going to be real with you. This whole shopping center here, there's so much that Retail, Bass Pro Shops. We got 2 golf stores in there. Golf Galaxy and the PGA store, they're in here, and along with the movie theater, Wild Wings Cafe. So this whole area has so much to do. And that's why getting into this Costco and trying to get out is an absolute nightmare. Now, the good thing about Sam's Club over here is there's a ton of parking. And this is a congested side of Woodruff Road, but it's not as bad as this whole stretch from Verde all the way to the backside of 385, because not only is this where Whole Foods is, but right here is Shops at Greenridge. So Lowe's, Best Buy, several restaurants, PetSmart, Dick's Sporting Good. This whole area right here, large shopping center. So that's why this area here gets so congested. So as we zoom out, so you can see, it really does depend. If you're on the north side of Greenville, you've got plenty of choices, whether it's on Main Street, got Harris Teeter right there, Sprouts. And if you wanted to go into downtown to Publix, it's fairly easy to get to, especially during certain parts of the day. Now, obviously, if you're trying to get to the store during the commute hours, it's going to be a nightmare. It just is. So just something to think about when you want to do your shopping. Now, this stretch of Woodruff Road, that is the congested area. If you go not during peak hours, it's not bad. Fridays, Saturdays, even Sundays, it's a nightmare. It just is. So if you need to go to that side of town on Woodruff Road, on that side of town, try to do it during the less peak hours. Try to get out there ASAP before everybody either gets out of church or they're waking up or anything like that. But that's the reason why it's so congested, is because there's so much retail, shopping, restaurants, and everything like that in that corridor. But this gives you a good idea, okay, of the big box grocery stores, big grocery stores, not your smaller boutique grocery stores. But you do have plenty of choices in and around Greenville right now. Last but not least, let's talk about where the entertainment spots are: concerts, sporting events, shows, stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom into Bon Secours Wellness Arena. That's the main arena in downtown. It's going to be right in this area here. So let's get a little bit further zoomed in here. I'm sorry, this is a detention center. We don't want to go there. All right. So here's Bon Secours Wellness Arena. So this is where the Greenville Swamp Rabbits are going to play when their season's in play. This is where concerts are going to be at. The bigger ones like Blake Shelton and stuff like that, those are who are going to be playing at the Well in Greenville. All right. Again, Disney on Ice for the kids. Comedians often come here. So Bon Secours Wellness Arena. This will, if there is a major event being done at the Well, you can guarantee that traffic is going to be rough going into downtown. So if there's a concert going on at 7 o'clock, it'll start getting backed up around probably 5 or even 5:30. So if you have to get in and out, try to avoid the downtown area, just because there's going to be a lot of traffic there. Parking, everybody's going to be parking in these areas right here. There's a parking garage right here. There's a small little parking area back here. But again, it's not a ton. It really isn't. So if you can find parking areas over here off of East North Street, which they do have, a lot of the businesses here do open up to public parking for these events. You just have to pay for it. But also keep in mind, if you're making the relocation here in the coming years, they are doing a complete revamp of this area where there's going to be basically an outdoor pavilion for the concerts. It's going to look amazing. It really is. So all this parking that's provided on the backside, that's going to disappear. So you'll still have this parking garage, but they are working on additional parking for that. But again, that is Bon Secours. Again, it's where the major concerts are at. Disney on Ice, comedy shows, Harlem Globetrotters, stuff of that matter. Now, let's move on to the thing that I love the most, which is baseball. All right. I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm a Chicago Cubs fan. Go Cubs. But again, our minor league team is the Greenville Drive, and the Floral Field is basically a mini because they're a Red Sox affiliate. So it's got a mini green monster. They've done a tremendous job with the field. It's beautiful. Again, there is plenty of parking in and around the stadium. And so they do have bus trolleys that if you park over here, because sometimes they open up the parking lot here at Greenville High for people to park. And if you don't want to walk, they do have trolleys. There are several parking spots along Pendleton here. And so they do have trolleys that will come pick you up and drop you off at the stadium. I think they run every 15 minutes. So just something to keep in mind. But again, if you're going to go to a baseball game, honestly, I'd highly recommend getting there a little bit early. Obviously, if you can't because of work or anything like that, but enjoy a drink or a beverage or some food. There's a bunch of restaurants right here, right outside the baseball stadium. But they've done a tremendous job with that baseball stadium. Great family atmosphere. Again, it's a Boston Red Sox affiliate. Highly recommend if you are in town during the baseball season to go see a baseball game if they are in town. It's such a great atmosphere. But again, so you got Floral Field, and again, this is right in the heart of downtown. I mean, we are right off of South Main right here, okay? Because this is North Main, and then once you hit Augusta Road, it will turn into South Main. So South Main Street going up all the way. You got the Reedy River here, Falls Park, and all that downtown. But you can kind of see its relation as far as where Bon Secours is right here. Let me get my nifty pen here. Again, there's several ways to get to the stadium. If you want to avoid going down Main Street, which is what I would recommend, you can go all the way to Academy here, and you can take Academy. There's several streets right here, McBee, O'Neill Street, and a few others that will take you directly to the baseball stadium. So these little spots here, obviously this one, that's probably McBee right there that runs right into South Main, right into the baseball stadium. So again, several ways that you can avoid going Main Street down to the stadium. Now, during certain times of the day, this will be congested. It just is. This goes all the way into Easley and out of downtown, so it is a busy street. Just keep that in mind when you're trying to get to a baseball game. All right, another awesome thing that has happened is we do have a minor league soccer team, the Greenville Triumph, and they are actually going to get their own stadium, which is pretty awesome. So let's go back here. It's not going to be in the city limits, okay? It's going to be right out here. If you take 385 like you're going towards Malden, so Bridges Road here. This is Bridgeway Station. This is a Malden address. This is a beautiful outdoor area. It's got several restaurants, coffee shops, and retail. But what's great about this is the Greenville Triumph are building their stadium right in this area here. So not only will you have access to minor league soccer, but you have access to restaurants and coffee and boutique shops and everything like that, all here at Bridgeway Station. So now, once we get to talking about Simpsonville later, we've got the amphitheater out there that hosts concerts and everything like that. But again, we're just focused on Greenville. But those are the major areas. Now, there are some smaller concerts. We have the TD stage, which is right in the heart of downtown, right on the river. Let's see if I can pull it up here. So it's going to be right here. This is just a small little pavilion. Well, I'm sorry. This is a pavilion area, and then they've got like the concert stage right here. And those are going to be smaller shows, mainly acoustic and stuff like that. But it's right on the river, great atmosphere. Usually, when the weather starts getting nice, that's when they start having bands playing out there. So just something to keep that in mind. But again, forgot to talk about the Peace Center. All right, edit that out, boys. I'm gonna start talking about the Peace Center next. All right, pull that down. All right, so now that we touched on the TD stage here and the pavilion here, really, if you're looking to go to those nice shows, the Lion King and stuff like that, that's where the Peace Center Concert Hall is going to come into play. And this is right off of Main Street. So here's Main Street right here, Broad Street right here. This is where those shows are going to be at. It's truly a remarkable area to go and watch. A symphony whenever they're in town. Like I said, the Lion King, the Nutcracker, and everything like that. That is going to be the area that those shows are going to be at. And again, parking is kind of rough here. Okay, you've got a parking garage right here, and then you can just walk across to the Peace Center. Let's see. That is almost it. Now you've got a couple parking spots over here also. It's a short walk across. And again, if you're staying at one of the hotels, there's a Marriott right here, the AC Hotel. If you're already parked there, then it's just a simple walk across the street. But again, the Peace Center, right in the heart of downtown Greenville, right off the Reedy, right off of Main Street. Those are where your symphonies, again, Lion King and everything like that. Those where those shows are going to be. So let's zoom back out of that map. Look at it now. It's not just dots anymore, is it? It's a network. It's the trail connecting your house to a brewery. It's the quick hop on 385 to get to a top hospital. It's the cluster of great schools in one zone, the international market in another. It's knowing you can catch a Broadway show or a hockey game all within the same week. Living in Greenville is about proximity, not just to things, but to experiences. The urban energy of Main Street is a 10-minute drive from a mountain trail. A world-class airport is 15 minutes from a farm-to-table dinner. That's the magic trick. What I've given you today is the framework, the skeleton, your stories, the Saturday morning bike rides, the stressful but successful ER visit, the random conversation at a drive game that turned into a friendship. That's what puts the flesh on the bones. That's what makes it a home. If you're considering Greenville, I hope this map tour helped connect the dots, literally and figuratively. If this was helpful, do me a huge favor, will you? Hit the like button. It tells YouTube this stuff is useful. Hit the subscribe button for more deep dives into what it's actually like to live in different cities. We're all about practical from the ground up tours. Comment below. I want to hear from you. Are you thinking of moving here? What's your biggest question? Do you live here and have a different favorite spot or a crucial piece of advice? The community in the comments is amazing, and honestly, they can be the real experts sometimes. And if you're ready to really dive in, check out the links in the description for my neighborhood deep dive videos. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Go explore, and maybe I'll see you out on the trail.